If your business can't run for 1 hour without you, you don't own a business. You own a job that owns you. And the worst part, you built the cage yourself. One, I'll just handle it at a time. So I'm Tony Acosta, and this is The Climb. The 8 nightmares every operator hits between 6 and 7 figures. Today, nightmare number 1, you are the business. So here's what we're going to talk about. The goal was never to be needed everywhere. The goal is to build something that produces without you. Being needed everywhere feels like importance, but it's actually a ceiling, and the ceiling is you. Ask me how I know, right? More revenue plus more of you required equals a trap. That's not a win. Because at the end of the day, you can't scale a person. You scale a system. And so that's the outcome that you're after. Because the real product that you're building isn't the product or the service that you're offering, it's freedom. And today we're gonna talk about those things. We're gonna talk about the 5 signs that you're the bottleneck. Here they are. 5 signs that you're not the owner, but that you are the bottleneck. And I want you to count how many you are. So here we go. Number 1 is nothing gets decided until you weigh in. The next thing is you can't take a full day off without something wobbling. Next is your team asks you questions they already know the answer to because you trained them to, right? Probably not you, maybe somebody you know, right? Growth makes it worse. More revenue means more of you required. And here's the last one. Your phone is the real office. If you counted 3 or more of these, then this live is for you. Don't go anywhere, right? Here is the day that I saw it in my own business, right? I remember, let me take you to the day that I figured this out. The day that I figured this out, I remember I had sold, man, it was early on, but I remember I had sold 4 homes that month. It was cool, right? Because I was like, man, this is awesome. Things were moving, but it was super painful because I was responsible for coordinating the entire process. I didn't even have a process back then, but I was responsible for all the moving parts. So I needed to sell the home. At that time, I would write out, right? I would fill out the statement of ownership application that we had to send to the state. I was responsible for the paperwork. I was responsible for coordinating the transport, making sure that thing doesn't fall apart. I was responsible for the back and forth with the state after. I was responsible for everything that had to do with that specific transaction, and it was extremely painful. Here's one of the biggest reasons that it was painful, because not only did I have to handle the paperwork for that transaction, right? And then I have to make sure everything's right because the state is, they're very nitpicky about any errors. Now I have to go back and forth with the state to make sure that any requirements that they have that were not, if there was additional paperwork needed, I would have to figure out what that was, find it, go get a signature from the other person, all while, like all of these things I'm having to do while I'm still trying to sell more homes. So it was nothing short of a dumpster fire back then. It was, and you know what? It's a great place to start. Don't get me wrong, because I started there and I realized real quickly, I can't keep going this way. But I started there, but I didn't stay there, right? So it's not a bad place to start, but it was nothing short of a dumpster fire back then. I was coordinating everything. It was a lot to do. And I had to continue to bring in sales so that we were making money. Back then, I wasn't even tracking revenue. I was just counting how much money I would make, literally. I didn't even know that there was a difference between revenue and what I was making, right? Revenue and profit. No clue. I was clueless, right? So there's hope for you. If I was that way, man, I was completely lost. And it was a great month, right? And even in that year, I realized, dude, I can't continue to do this, because if I continue to do this, it's going to derail things. Like, because this is 1 month, but at the end of that year, I realized we had hit a ceiling on what we could make. And at that point, I had to decide, and this is something that you have to decide for yourself as well, is what outcome am I after? Am I after, just this? Am I cool with this ceiling that I hit? And I think it was like 150 or something like that, right? And at that point, I think it was just income, right? And I was like, okay, am I cool with just sitting here, or do I want to grow this thing into something that can make an impact on other people as well? And for me, you have to reckon with that, right? And decide what your outcome is. For me, it wasn't stay there. I wanted to make sure that we were growing and that we were doing more and that we could impact lives outside of just our own family. And so that was a huge realization for me. And you have to reckon with that as well. I realized really quickly that I was a ceiling, and that ceiling was going to stay there unless things changed. The money couldn't grow past my own two hands. That was it. That was the limit. That was the max that I could go. So it was uncomfortable, and it was new, but that was the epiphany that I had, right? I wasn't building a company. I was a very well-paid employee of a company with one employee, and I was the employee. So you have to reckon with that. You have to decide, what's my outcome? And if your outcome is to grow, then you're in the right place. So let me give you 3 moves to start the climb out, right? Same 3 moves that I made, same 3 moves that we're constantly improving, the process that we have, the processes that we have, and the things that we're doing. But here are the 3 moves to start the climb out. None are complicated. They are just uncomfortable because you're going to be doing something different than you have been this entire time. So here is move number 1. Move number 1 is decisions become documents. Move number 2, a scoreboard replaces your gut. Move number 3 is 1 owner per outcome, right? So with the documents, what do you mean decisions become documents? Documents, for example, one of the things that we do in our company that I did really quick because I realized, okay, these questions keep coming up over and over. We developed a FAQ, a frequently asked question document, so that any questions that may come up, because they keep coming up repeatedly with the same things, and we do this with our sales team, I give them a frequently asked question document so that when that question comes up, it's not a, hey, what do I do here? It's a, hey, check this out. The answer to that question, because it's so frequent, is on this document, right? Created an SOP. Another thing that we do as far as documentation goes, we created an SOP for how we handle title transfer paperwork, how we handle taxes being paid, all of those things. There is a document that says how that's handled so that it doesn't live and die inside of my own head or inside of the person that I have doing its head, doing that specific work, head, our admin, right? So those are that's one of the things that, or those are some of the things that I've done as far as documenting, having documents instead of things that live in your head, right? Put it on paper. Now it's a doc, it's not a phone call, right? So you get less, your day is less hectic. Trust me, your day gets much, much less hectic when people go, when every time, and you have to train people to a certain degree. When they ask you the question, say, have you checked on the frequently asked question thing? Oh, no, you know what? Let me look there, right? And now maybe the 2 or 3 times that happens, and after that, then they get accustomed to, let me check there before I even reach out, see if this makes sense, see where we're at, boom. And your day will get less hectic. And trust me, this is huge. It's a big part of the goal. And then you continue to do that, and you build a database of documentation for how you do certain things in your company, especially the repeated processes. Let's document this so that let's have a checklist so it stops becoming a phone call. The next thing is a scoreboard. So if the only way to know how you're doing is to ask you, if they have to come to you to ask, you're still the bottleneck. And so one of the things that we've done is, one of the things that works really well as far as scoreboard goes, and it's kind of dual purpose because it feeds the scoreboard, it's our end of day reports. And so the end of day report basically tells me what we have certain metrics that are tracked for each individual, because each role has different metrics that move the dial forward for the company, that help us know that things are getting done. And so We document each one of those, or we have each one of those end of day reports. I've got it in a digital format because it used to be an email, and the email was very copy and paste, and it was text heavy, and there was a lot of friction. So people would submit it, sometimes people won't. So what I did is I had it created in a digital format, which is really cool because you go in there and you fill out, hey, I've got 3 of those, 2 of these, 3 of these. These are the things that are stopping me from moving forward. These are some blockers, and these are some wins. That's one of the things that I've done as far as the scoreboard. And for our sales team, cool part is the things that are happening on the KPIs or on those metrics that we're tracking, they get fed into the scoreboard. So now we got a scoreboard that shows where everyone's at. And it's really cool. So it's a kind of a dual purpose, but that's something that's helped us out a lot. Last thing is one owner for every result. So every result has a name on it that isn't always yours. This is beautiful because right now, if you're an operator and you're between 6 and 7 figures, I know that you're dealing with this, or you have at least dealt with this, where every outcome has your name on it. And that gets, again, very, very hectic. And you start to accumulate all of these things, and they can create a whole lot of busyness and very little effectiveness. And so when you give one owner for every outcome, one of the things that we stress in our company is something that I learned from the big man, from Tony Robbins. In Business Mastery 2, he talked a lot about the value chain, and I thought it was really cool, and I learned a lot from that. One of the things that I learned is by when and by who. Every time that somebody has a task, right, that they have to complete, we don't want to just know that they're going to complete it, but we want to know by when and by who. Who's going to take care of it? Who's the owner of the outcome? Number 2, by when is it going to be taken care of? So those 2 things help to hold everybody accountable. One of the things that we do in conjunction with that is we want to make sure that we're being brutally accountable with one another. We hold each other accountable to the things that we say we're going to do. This is true internally. This is true externally with our clientele, people that we work with. We want to make sure that they know that we are on top of whatever it is we said we were going to do. And the things and the small promises that we make, they compound and build trust, right? Do the same thing internally. The things that we say that we're going to do, they compound and then they build trust within our own team, which creates a really great culture. And that's one of the things that we're after, right? So that's an example of each one of those things. So if you do those 3 and something wild happens, the business continues to produce on the days that you're not there, which is really, really cool. And it's one thing that I've seen is when I am out, which is a beautiful thing, things continue to move forward in the company and nobody's freaking out because they know what the process is. We're not perfect, but like I said, we're always improving processes, but we've gotten a lot better. And that's going to help you a great deal if that's not something that you do already. Do those 3 things, and all of those little micro wins are going to compound and build momentum and help you to be a lot better and at what you're doing, at running your business and getting a little bit more freedom and bandwidth to do other things that you need to focus on to grow the business, which is a beautiful thing. Another thing that I hear a lot of operators say, I hear this, and it's funny, and this may not be for you, but check it out. Maybe for somebody you know, if you're an operator, it says, but nobody can do it like me. I've heard tons of people tell me stuff like that, and I go, I get it, but that's not the goal for them to do it like you. The goal is to make sure that it gets done, right? So I already hear it. Nobody can do it like me, and you're absolutely right. And that's exactly why you're stuck, because you think that nobody can do it like you. It's totally fine that nobody can do it with you. 90% done without you beats 100% that only happens when you're standing there every single time. 90% done without you beats 100% that only happens when you're there every single time. Trust me. This is one of the things that I learned from John Maxwell. It's if something gets done 80 to 90% as good as you do it, hand it off to somebody. Hand it somebody off who can do it 80 to 90% as well as you do. And when you do that, it's going to free up even more bandwidth for you to be able to focus on things that are going to help you to grow your business, to grow your company, and to push things in a forward direction. Because the truth is that nobody is ever going to do it exactly like you, but that's not the goal. Perfection that requires you isn't a standard, dude, it's a leash. It becomes a leash. And trust me when I tell you, the first handoff is often the scariest and the most freeing thing that you'll do all year. When you learn to hand some of these things off, responsibilities, outcomes, tasks that you have within your company, when you start to learn to hand them off, it is just one of the most beautiful things that you can do. And it is one of the most freeing things that you can do. So this week, I want to challenge you. I want you to find one thing that only you can do, and I want you to give it away. Document it or hand it off, but give it away. The first time the business does that thing without you, something in your brain happens and it changes forever. Trust me. I remember the coolest thing, man. I don't know if I was at a business, I believe I was at a business conference. And the cool thing was we had acquired a home without me being there. And not only did we acquire the home, but while I was gone at the business conference, we were able to sell the home. And I thought, this is really cool, because before that, I had never sold a home without me being in control of everything. You know what I mean? Of the sales process. Like, I had never sold a home without it being me who was selling the home, or me who was acquiring the home. And so at this time, we acquired the home while I was gone, and we sold the home while I was gone. And my mind just went poof. My mind was blown, and I was so excited and I was so proud of our team. I remember I got emotional, dude. I remember where I was. I remember where I was standing. I remember the emotion that I felt. I was like, dude, I can't believe that this happened while I was gone. And so trust your people, man. They can get it done. You just need to trust them. Something will change in your brain forever. I'm telling you. I remember the first time that happened. That was so cool. Now, it's not the whole climb, but it's a part of the first rung on the ladder, if you will, right? It's the first rung on the ladder. We'll talk about this next time. We're going to talk about something completely different. We're going to keep going on these nightmares. So, operators, I want to talk to you for just a minute. And I want to tell you this: you can white knuckle this wall another year, or we can help you to build your way out in 30 days. I take a small group of operators, 3 to 4 at a time max, because that's the bandwidth that I have and the ability and the capacity that I have at this time, through a 30-day sprint, one-on-one and together, to climb this exact wall. We do it together. It's $5,000 a month. It's not for everyone. It's for the operator who's done staying stuck, right? So if that's you, I want to invite you to do that. DM me the word operator, and I'll send you the details. And I want to tell you just one last thing. Looking forward to next week's live, same time, Thursday, noon, live. I want to make sure we're going to go live at noon. We're going to be talking about the next nightmare on the climb, between 6 and 7 figures. Live full, die empty. Let's build your legacy. Have a beautiful day, y'all.